another episode of the Pigs and Fergs Wrestling Podcast.
Hello, my great audience.
Last week, I don't know what episode order these are coming out in anymore, we did the Royal Rumble 2008. Today we're doing the Raw after the Royal Rumble 2008. John Cena has returned. He is a glorious presence on this program. We've also got Jeff Hardy trying to recover from the heartbreak of losing the WWE Championship match at the Royal Rumble. And we've got the likes of Randy Orton, Ric Flair and more here tonight. Now we do the nostalgia seg, but we kind of already covered that in the Rumble, didn't we?
We did. So it's just full steam ahead. Let's get into Raw, and hopefully Ferg will be more enthusiastic, because right now it sounds like The Undertaker had a night out, and it's very sad. Shawn Michaels won't let him sleep on the couch.
I just wanted a vodka tonic. That's my impression of The Undertaker, although I don't imagine he's a vodka tonic man.
I think he's more a whiskey man, myself.
Yeah. You can't really binge whiskey, though. Well, you
Phil
can.
Mitchell do.
Yeah, you can. I'll tell you what, this is you know what, overall, before we even get into Raw, I think it was a good show. Like, it went by really quick, unlike that Nitro we watched. I'm going to keep bringing up Nitro every episode until the end of time, I think, because that's always going to be my benchmark. But yeah, before we officially get into the show, you know, they showed us some clips from the Royal Rumble. What did you think of the show overall?
The show went by actually pretty fast. I had to watch it in 2 sittings because, shout out to Watching Walford. I do a Watching Walford podcast. For people who are confused, basically over here there's a show called EastEnders, and me and a person from Eastleigh Entertain, or from the Shire community, Simpsons Hit and Run community, called Aqua Dreams or Ash. So I was watching EastEnders, and so I was watching Raw at 7 or at 6, EastEnders at 7:30, then Raw at 8, and it just flew by.
I mean, this is I managed to watch it all in one sitting. It was a very easy watch, and it just makes me miss the times when Raw was 2 hours. If it was 2 hours again, I'd definitely watch it, but now you really got to commit if you want to watch all 3 hours of it. Obviously, you can watch it in 2 hours if you skip commercials and stuff, but it's still a lot of wrestling to watch, and yeah, these days it doesn't go by as quick, although, you know, at this time, there's no point making predictions on what Raw's like at this very moment in time, because things are constantly changing right now, so, you know, who knows. But back here, we had John Cena. He opened the show, and this was his first time back on Raw in like 4 months. He was supposed to be out for an entire year. However, he came back early, and he has a little monologue to start off Raw. Obviously, at the Royal Rumble, we talked about it, didn't we? How there's kind of a myth about John Cena coming back and everyone loved him, you know?
Yeah, and then the fans, like we see, just taking a breath. You can see it here, the fans immediately turn on him. Like, the fans are chanting, "You suck, Cena," and half the fans are like, "We want Cena." You can already tell they're fed up with Cena, and he has not even returned to less than 24 hours. I
mean, I was too young at this time to really get on the Cena hate bandwagon, because I would have been, 9 when this show came out, so I was still very much, oh, he's a good guy, I must like him, I'm glad he's back. And you know what? Back then, honestly, didn't even notice that he was getting booed, which is really strange, because it did not even cross my mind that anyone would dislike John Cena at this time. But aside from the crowd, who kind of ruined this promo, but it's not too bad, he does manage to get them back on side towards the end, which is a good character trait of John Cena, to be fair. So, he loves the city because it's rowdy, obviously they're booing him, and he says, even though they're booing him, he's just happy to be back in here. He said he was going to be out for a year, and he was going to miss WrestleMania, and he was downtrodden, his life was crumbling, his dreams faded away, but then in the final hour, he made a choice and a gamble. He risked his health for one damn chance to maybe get a chance to go to WrestleMania. And he's happy he's back, and he's happy he's going to WrestleMania, unless the people want to have WrestleMania here tonight. But who comes out?
Hey, nothing you can say. Nothing's gonna change what you done to him, hey.
Bit of a cursed theme song, hearing that version of the hearing Burning My Light with this version of Orton feels a bit off, doesn't it?
It does, because you associate this Orton with, I hear voices in my head. They come to me, they talk to me.
But I do really like this theme song. I like it more than voices. I know that might be a controversial take.
No, it's not. People prefer Burning My Light over voices.
Randy Orton, he's going through the list of wrestlers he's beaten so far in his title reign. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Jeff Hardy. That's a hell of a list, to be fair. And Cena says, yeah, you beat them all, but you took me out because, Orton, you're smart. You took the opportunity, and that's why Orton should take the match with John Cena tonight instead of WrestleMania. And obviously, you can see the scar that is on his arm, and he says, you need to face me tonight, because are you going to give me another 8 weeks to recover, or are you going to face me right now? So Cena's keen, but Randy Orton is not that keen, but he will face Cena, just not at WrestleMania, at No Way Out. I don't think this has been done before this, but what did you think about Cena versus Orton at No Way Out instead of Mania?
I think it has been done before once, I think. I'm trying to remember when. It has. Finn's put his thing on the line against Austin at St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1999 is what I'm thinking of. And The Rock, I think, did it in 2000, I think, with the Big Show.
I think The Rock, but in both those cases, they were putting their title shot on the line. They weren't actually challenging for the championship.
Yeah,
but put my nerd glasses on there.
Yeah, but you did ask the question, has this been done? It has, kind of.
Yeah.
But not in this way.
No. So, yeah, we're getting it at No Way Out, which we'll review.
For a bonus video.
It's not a bonus video, it's an actual episode, isn't it?
No, it's a bonus video.
No Way Out is?
Yeah, No Way Out, because No Way Out is the side arc.
Yeah, but it's an episode of Pigs and Fergs.
It's a bonus episode. If you check the sketch one.
No! I watched the whole thing. I'm not watching whole pay-per-views for a bonus video. It goes in the main Pigs and Fergs timeline,
No. You clearly said it was a bonus episode.
No, I believe I said the matches. If it was just one match, then it's a bonus episode.
Well, hold on here. Episode 11 is the Raw after the Royal Rumble. The next episode is not No Way Out. It's ECW.
Can we do No Way Out instead?
Fine.
Yay! Because it's my birthday next week.
Fuck your birthday.
No, that's not very nice. Come on, we're going to have cake, we're going to celebrate, we're going to watch No Way Out, it's going to be grand. Episode
10 is No Way Out 2008. But
yeah.
we're watching full pay-per-views as a side arc, just to annoy you.
We'll see. We will discuss this after the podcast, Piggy.
If you want to discuss this, Ferg, you can discuss it to the 100 people that listen, alright? Because me and the 100 people are fighting against the system. We're fighting against you.
You know what? We're having this little domestic right here. Ashley is trying to convince Maria to do Playboy. Because Maria and Santino at the moment, they're having a bit of a rocky relationship, aren't they?
They are, indeed.
And why?
I don't know why, because she wants to do Playboy.
She wants to get out her boobies, and Santino's not happy about that. So, there's a bit of controversy there. We'll check in with them later, though, because there is a segment that I did enjoy later on. We've also got a Divas tag team match right now. It's Ashley and Mickie James versus Jillian Hall and Beth Phoenix. Not really a lot to say about this matchup, although Beth Phoenix and Mickie James work well. Even the stuff with Ashley and Jillian Hall is fine. I think that the action is fine for what it is. It ends quite abruptly, though. There's a fisherman buster to Mickie James, and this is a callback to a spot they did a couple of weeks ago, or the week before this, I should say, where Beth beat Mickie with a fisherman's suplex and then beat her, and it looked legitimate, and this one kind of came out of nowhere, the finish. But I will say it was fun little matchup. Obviously, back then they're not giving divas time to wrestle, but what did you think?
I think it was good. Not much to say about it. It was good. Very quick.
Yeah. I mean, they could have given it more time, but again, what can you really expect? At least they weren't degraded in any way. That seems like a low bar, but trust me, at WWE at this time, that's a bar that is very much there. And yeah, so Beth and Jillian win. Mickie looks all sad after the match. Then we get Vince and William Regal backstage, and they are talking about No Way Out, and they say, who should face the winner at WrestleMania? And Regal discusses, maybe this match should be it. And Vince likes that idea, so tells Regal to go and make the announcement. And oh my god, this is a bad segment. Poor Regal.
I think this is one of the only times Regal has ever messed up on a promo.
He does not recover.
No, he's just so excited for the No Way Out Elimination Chamber match.
It's completely against his character at this time as well. He's supposed to be this kind of no-nonsense GM, but he's been like, I'm so excited about this chamber match at No Way Out. So he messes up all of the lines. Like, he tries to explain the rules, which I don't think they really need to be explained. But then again, this was the first chamber match since December to Dismember, so it's a welcome return, but also they're a bit wary of how badly the match could go, as we remember that infamous match, which we can do that chamber match for a bonus episode if you'd like.
We'll have a discussion after the podcast.
Oh, I'm in trouble now. But yeah, he doesn't really do this chamber justice. Although we know in the match it's going to be Umaga, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, JBL, Jeff Hardy, and Triple H. And then we've got some more hype for the chamber. Mike Adamle is in the crowd and hyping the chamber. And we've also got tonight Snitsky and Umaga versus Triple H and a mystery partner. Plus Orton and JBL versus Chris Jericho and Jeff Hardy in the main event. And then we get the rewind of the segment with Ashley Maria and Big Dick Johnson last night. Was stupid segment. And then next up we've got Carlito versus Cody Rhodes. Who would have thought that 15 years later, one of them would be on the cusp of becoming WWE Champion, and it wouldn't be Carlito?
Oh, poor Carlito.
Were you a Carlito fan?
Kind of. I loved his song, I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Yeah.
Loved that.
But in this
That's what I have to
match,
say.
yeah, in this match, it's another short match, which I guess that's the kind of downfall of these Raws, is because it's 2 hours, the matches aren't as long, but then again, it's kind of a nothing match, really. I mean, he's kind of green here, but not too bad. Like, Carlito is beating down Cody. They do mess up a spot, like an arm drag, and Carlito manages to get to the ropes. A leg scissors from Cody, but Carlito fights out. More shots to Cody, and then there's like a weird jumping punch to Carlito. It doesn't look too good. They're brawling on the floor, and then Hardcore Holly, I should say, is with Cody Rhodes. They are the World Tag Team Champions as well, bear that in mind. And they're feuding with Carlito and Santino, who aren't really a team, but it is what it is. So, Holly chasing Santino, backstabber by Carlito, and that's it. Carlito wins in like 3 minutes. What do you think of the match?
It was an alright match.
That's the kind of analysis we're looking for on this podcast. I mean, to be fair, nothing really you can say about it, because it's, not really getting a lot of time, and the storylines here, I'll take this over Nitro, don't get me wrong, because I do, but that's partly nostalgia for, believe me, nostalgia does exist for me in this period, and, in spite of the undercard being a bit lackluster, the main eventers, there are a ton of them on this show, and it just goes to show you, even without the chamber match and the title match at No Way Out, you still got the likes of Mr. Kennedy on Raw, Ric Flair is knocking about. Yeah, well, we'll see Kennedy later on tonight as well.
Kennedy!
Yes. And also, of course, Snitsky. Who can forget Snitsky?
It was not my fault. What happened to Gene? Where did Gene go?
He dropped the gene, and he dyed his teeth, which we'll get to. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels are talking backstage. I wonder who is going to be Triple H's tag team partner. Shilling DX merch. And then we get Snitsky and Umaga versus DX.
Can we talk about this? What is your favourite iteration of DX? Is it 1997, 1998, 2000 where they're heels, 2006, 2008, 2009, or 2018?
Saudi.
We're not going to count the ones where we're not going to count the ones where they reunite for one night only, because Raw turns 106.
I would say my favourite is 2006. I know everyone hates it and it's not the same, but I'm going to say it right now. DX is overrated. There, I said it.
I do agree with that statement, because they're better as singles wrestlers than tag teams.
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoy their banter, and I would say that 2006 is my favourite, because that's the kind of stuff they were doing when I got into wrestling. But I was a stupid kid. I did like the stupid stunts they were doing every week. I know everyone they weren't a fan of it. I know it's notoriously banned, but I liked it. 2009 DX, again, like, I was still fairly young. I enjoyed it, obviously not as much as I did 2006. But you know what? DX in 2009, they were still having some really good matches with the likes of Legacy and Jericho, you know? So they had that going for them. And I liked 97, where they were kind of like 97, but they were just so obnoxious. But not in like a heel way, in that you can tell that they're pulling strings to make themselves look good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do wonder, had Kevin Nash and Scott Hall stayed in WF, would they have been a part of DX?
Oh, they would have got there, yeah. It would have morphed into... That would have been what the NWO would have been. You know what I mean?
It would have been. I wonder, we need to do an alternate reality wrestling video. That needs to be an episode.
Yeah, where Hall and Nash stay.
Yeah.
Or Shawn leaves and goes to WCW.
Yeah, where he leaves and goes to WCW, and then he has a falling out with Hogan, and the WCW locker room becomes a toxic mess because Hogan doesn't want to put over Michaels, and they have Michaels in his prime not putting over Hogan, and then it just spirals into a toxic mess, and then he pops pills with Scott Hall and probably dies before he's 37. Jesus, what a timeline. This is
the timeline we live in. Thank God that WCW wasn't a toxic mess.
It was. Let's be honest.
We get DX out here.
Had Shawn and Hogan been together in the same room in 1998,
that's the real mega powers.
Would that be a toxic environment? I'm not putting you over, brother. I'm not putting you over, Hogan. You're old. But I'm not putting you over, brother, because I don't see the point in putting you over, brother. But you know who I'll put over, brother? I'll put over Roddy Piper.
You didn't even put over Piper. You didn't even put over Piper properly, because they had the title match and they didn't even win the title. So, you know, still salty about that. But anyway, even though it was before my time, I was about to say, Snitsky, DX do their shtick. They talk about Michael Buffer the night before doing gimmick infringement. What's up with that?
Yeah. Let's get ready to
suck it.
I thought you said fuck it.
No. Keep it relatively PG. I mean, there's still TV-14 here.
It's meant to be TV-14, but it's not TV-14. It's literally still PG.
You can definitely feel it's going that way. The weird thing is the contrast of the HD with a lot of the blood that you see on the show at the moment. It's a weird, because it's obviously like a weird transition period, I suppose.
I'm glad we didn't see Benoit in HD. Or Snuka. Oh no, we did see Snuka in HD.
Literally the night before he competed.
Oh, and yeah, we had Pipe going, yeah,
hell yeah,
motherfucker.
Well, they ain't here tonight, but Snitsky is, and they do their little spot where he locks up and he just goes to the corner, he just can't, and then Triple H gets on the mic and he says, "Does anyone have a toothbrush? Tic Tacs? Anything? Crowd chants, brush your teeth." I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a funny little seg, and yeah, not much Snitsky can do here. He's just a big, gross-looking guy. If Snitsky was a Mr. Man, who would he be?
Oh, Jesus, now I have to Google Mr. Man again. I don't know what Mr. Man he would be.
Why don't you just have a list of Mr. Men up anytime we do this podcast?
I don't know, okay? I don't know.
Well, while you look up Mr. Men, I'll go through the rest of this match. Umaga's stuff is pretty cool in this one. He kicks off Shawn Michaels to the floor, looks pretty brutal. Shawn Michaels is worked over by a bear hug. Shawn Michaels escapes and then gets to a clubbing forearm to Snitsky and gets a tag to Triple H. And it's a big ol' whatchamacallit, a big hot tag, that's it. He's diving all over the place, is Triple H trying to beat up Snitsky and Umaga. Shawn Michaels also gets he gets a tornado DDT before he tags in Triple H, and then Triple H just battering Umaga and Snitsky, slamming them together like he's Hogan in the 80s. Shawn Michaels with a beautiful tope con hilo over the top onto Umaga. Snitsky sets up for a boot on Triple H but misses it. Spinebuster, wham, pedigree, that's it. 12-15, DX wins and celebrates. I thought it was a fun tag team match just because the crowd were into it, and also it was kind of like an unexpected DX reunion. at this point because they weren't regularly tag teaming together. So it was fun for what it was. Like, you know, standard TV match. It wasn't terrible. It was what the fans wanted and they were into it. So, yeah, what did you think about this tag match?
I love the start of it with Snitsky, where it's the tic-tac moment. I understand people are like, this is just silly DX.
Wrestling is silly, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you found your Mr. Men yet?
Oh, I have Mr. Grumble.
What's Mr. Grumble looking like?
I think he's Mr. Grumpy, but I might be wrong. Here he is. Here's a photo of Mr. Grumble.
Yeah, I get it anyway with Snitsky with the kind of murmuring. That was his gimmick for a long time.
There's Mr. Grumble.
Very nice. We'll refer back to the Mr. Men chart later in the show, I'm sure. So, next up we got Orton and JBL meeting backstage, and they do the typical heel thing of, I don't really like you, but the other people we like less, so let's team up together, but if we fight each other at WrestleMania, then we'll beat each other up, and I'll beat you, and then they are, at each other's throats. Very interesting. Jeff Hardy gets an interview backstage. He does not have that much verbal charisma, does he?
Oh, Jeff Hardy, he doesn't have much charisma.
Which is weird, because he's, like, the most over person on the roster. I mean, as a kid, again, like, he was my favourite. He still is. And he very much didn't really ever become a proper promo guy, which is weird, because, like, when you're at that level for so long, you'd think that you just naturally pick it up. I don't know. You know, that's like a nitpick, really, for him. But, again, it just goes to show you how over he was, that his mic skills didn't hamper his popularity. And we'll talk about it with the No Way Out episode, because they did a little poll that we'll talk about there. But yeah, Hardy, he came close and he didn't win the WWE Championship. But he said it was just the beginning, and we'll have to wait another 12 months to see him actually win the championship. Spoiler alert. But then we move on to Vince with Hornswoggle backstage. Vince says, "You let me down at the Rumble." And he says, "You came back a loser." He tells him to get out of his sight. Vince is not happy with Hornswoggle. I think this storyline sucks. Like, obviously, it was a joke at first, but it's been 4 months and nothing has changed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
What would be the ideal ending to this storyline? Assuming that obviously the thing was it was going to be Kennedy, but Hornswoggle, what would have been your ideal ending for this Hornswoggle storyline at WrestleMania?
I mean, you know, we had Julie Bagwell on her pole match.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just hear me out. Hornswoggle on a forklift. You know, winner gets him. Finlay versus Vince versus JBL.
He's small enough that you could put him on a pole.
That's for the fans to decide. We need to DM Hornswoggle. We need to ask him that question privately. See if he will agree.
I mean, it really should have been... obviously, it's a stupid storyline, but it should have been Vince McMahon versus Finlay, you know? I think they should have gone and done you could still do the Belfast Brawl that they did, but then you have Vince McMahon, because every time he's in a street fight at WrestleMania, it bangs. So, you know, why not do it here? And you make Finlay into a bigger deal. You maybe push him into the title scene as well. Like, you know, you make him a believable challenger for the World Championship, maybe go after Edge. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I understand that Finlay was older at this time, but still, you know, it's just missed potential. I think that's a lot of what you could just sum up WWE at this time. And maybe for the past 20 years, to be honest, but especially here, wasted potential.
It's because of The Rock. I blame The Rock, because The Rock is the reason why they don't want to build new stars. Because The Rock went and did what you're not supposed to do. The Rock went and he went for Hollywood. And then John Cena went, I'm going to Hollywood. And then Dave went, Rock's a shit actor. I'm a better actor than The Rock.
You know the new Knives Out, the Glass Onion movie? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Well, tell me what happens.
With Batista in it. Well, I won't spoil it for anyone, but it's a murder mystery. Yeah, it's with Daniel Craig as well. It's a murder mystery on this island as a detective, and they've got to figure out who is the killer, basically. And it's a big mystery, and it's a very, very good film. It's my favourite film so far this year. I know it's only like 2 months into the year or whatever, but I would definitely recommend people watch it if they haven't already. The hype is real for it. But yeah, Batista's in that. He's got his dong tightly packed into his shorts, and he's got a gun as well. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a side tangent there. Next up, we've got Mr. Kennedy and Brian Kendrick. We've already seen this squash like a week or two ago before this. So Brian Kendrick comes back at him. I think Paul London was injured at this time. That's why Kendrick's doing single stuff. Again, more wasted potential with Kendrick and London. Were you a fan of that tag team?
Kendrick and London, yeah, I was. I played as them on SVR 09.
Yes.
Question mark?
Yeah, that's the one. They were left out of SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 despite being the longest reigning tag team, WWE Tag Team Champions at that point. So it just goes to show you how highly they were thought of. And Brian Kendrick, he does some cool stuff in this one and gets like a leaping kick, yeah?
Sorry, but I thought Paul London was sacked at this point because he smiled when Vince McMahon died before he came back to life because of a tragedy.
No, contrary to popular belief, he was actually still employed. He was just injured at this time because they won the World Tag Team Championships on Raw, but only for like a day, on like a house show loop. So they are still here, but Paul London is injured, and then Paul London will come back shortly before WrestleMania, I believe, and then Kendrick and London will have like a mini feud, and that's when we get the Brian Kendrick, and then Paul London's shortly given the shit can after that. So yeah, but he is still employed. But I'm sure it probably led to his release. So Kennedy wins, obviously, and hits the mic check. There was one point where Kennedy slammed Kendrick into the apron, and that looked nasty. So he gets on the mic and he says he went to Regal and said, I don't want to be in the chamber. He wants to be a champion, but he says he wants something more than that, something to end the career of Ric Flair. And I thought, that's a bit silly. You could be the champion. But again, I guess that's something he can do. Ric Flair's out and he says Kennedy will lose, and he does his little dance. Woo-hoo-hoo. So we're getting Ric Flair versus Mr. Kennedy and No Way Out. Thoughts on that mini little segment there?
It was an alright segment. You can't retire Ric Flair. He's still wrestling. Ric Flair would rather die in a ring than die in a retirement home. Well, I know that's a bit brutal to say, but let's be honest here, lads. We're not being blunt.
Fair enough, you know. I mean, he was passed out like twice in that last match, and who knows, by the time that this podcast goes up, he might have announced himself for another match. We will have to wait and see there. Next up, a second women's match on the show in this era of WWE?
Yeah, it's meant to think.
And it actually, not a bad match. Melina versus Maria. Melina, they do some fine stuff, you know. You got to take into account the standards of the time. And really, it was not a bad match. So, the ending really is all you need to know, because Maria misses the corner. Melina tries to roll her up, but then, oh my goodness, we see her bottom because they pull her pants down. And then she drops down and sits on Melina and then wins. Woo! And then Santino covers her up really quick because, can't be seeing that. Yeah, this HD, seeing this vulgarity in HD. He's offended, and so Santino wants to puke in the Liberty Bell and then says that Maria will never be in Playboy. Was there a segment on this show where they were at the Playboy mansion?
That's No Way Out.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm breaking the fourth wall here. I'm not saying that I've already watched No Way Out. Shh. But yeah, so this storyline continues. What did you think about that little bit?
It was an alright match. It was mainly just to further Santino versus Melina? Maria?
Yeah, Maria. Yeah.
I was confusing her from Melina for a second.
That's similar names. This is fair enough. Todd Grisham's backstage with Chris Jericho, and a side of Jericho we've never seen. I'm pretty sure we've seen Jericho be a bastard before, like a badass, you know? So he says he's going to spend more time with JBL, that bad Chris Jericho, and then he's going to be going to WrestleMania. And yeah, they run down also the No Way Out card. And then we get our main event, Randy Orton and JBL versus Jeff Hardy and Chris Jericho. Quite the main event, I must say, because we've got Orton and Jericho who begin things, renewing their rivalry, and they kind of circle each other, and then we get Hardy tagging in, and already hits a swanton on Randy Orton, and he goes for the cover after a while, and then JBL saves it, and that's when we get to the commercial. And then we come back from commercial, and Orton's working over Jeff Hardy, slowing it way down, but Jeff Hardy does manage a crossbody and a cover for two, and then they're working over Jeff Hardy a lot here, knees to the back, the standard heel stuff. Orton and JBL, they don't really interact a lot in their careers, funny enough. So we also get Orton coming back in and beating down Jeff Hardy, working him over. So yeah, the heat segment lasts quite a long time, And then we get the hot tag. So JBL and Jericho are finally in, and they beat each other up. Forearm to JBL, I should say. And then another tackle, tries to get the walls of Jericho in, but JBL gets out. Then a springboard dropkick to Orton, and he goes to the floor. And then afterwards, I think, was it Jeff Hardy who dives off the top rope to the floor? That was quite... he's pushed off because he's going for the Whisper in the Wind and then gets pushed to the floor. So Orton's beating up Jeff Hardy on the outside. Jericho's got the walls of Jericho in the ring, but then Orton comes in with the RKO. And that's out of nowhere while he's in the walls, and JBL covers and gets the win. So, a fun little main event. Afterwards, though, JBL and Orton are celebrating, and then that's when John Cena comes out, and JBL's like, "I got your back, man." But, don't trust JBL, he's a snake. Ironically, runs out, leaves Orton all alone, and then they brawl, and an FU to Randy Orton as John Cena stands tall, and I'm sure the fans have missed the sight of that, even though they're booing him. Not a terrible main event, but yeah, it's it was decent. What did you think about this? Not only the main event, but also what happened afterwards.
Fun match. I think it was the longest match on the card, was it?
I believe so. Yeah.
It was a fun match. It flew by for me. Nothing much to say. It just flew by for me.
I would say overall, it wasn't a great Raw. Let's be honest, but I did appreciate that the segments kind of flowed into each other. I think my favourite, I can't really say a favourite match, I guess you could say the main event because it had my favourites in it. And I did like the little interactions between Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton, completely forgot their names there. And it was cool seeing Chris Jericho in this look just before he became the mega heel later on in 2008. So I got a little bit of a soft spot for early face Chris Jericho when he returned. And apart from that, I really liked John Cena's opening promo, if not for the crowd kind of booing the hell out of him. But I would say that it was a very well-delivered promo, and it just showed you how much Cena could hype up a match. Dude, I was on board with him. I was willing him on after that speech. And yeah, it made me quite appreciate John Cena. But yeah, what was your thoughts overall on this Raw?
It was not the best Raw, let's admit. But it flew by compared to most things.
Nitro, for instance.
Yeah.
I'll take a Raw in 2008, only because it's my era. I mean, as someone who didn't watch it during this time, what do you think about this? Just the whole iteration of WWE on Raw.
Like the PG era?
Not the PG era, because it's not quite PG yet, but this sort of, 2007, 2008, that kind of post-Benoit WWE.
It's very weird because people will look and go, well, Benoit didn't kill the wrestling industry. Benoit certainly did. Because whether people like to admit it or not, Benoit loved pro wrestling. He was, let's be honest, one of the greatest. And then he nearly killed what he loved. Like when he did that horrible thing that we'll never forgive. It's very weird because they're trying their best. That's all I can say. They're trying their best, but it's a post-Benoit world. I mean, when people say it's because of Benoit that went PG, even though it's because of Linda McMahon was running for senator or something.
It just feels like they're in a... I don't want to say... I would say stagnant, because they've got so many big stars, and yet nothing really seems to be happening. I mean, you've got the storyline with the main event with Orton and Cena, but apart from that, there's no real big angles and nothing really to look forward to. And you'd think they would ramp it up on the road to WrestleMania, but this really didn't feel like, don't get me wrong, it went by quick, but I'm not saying it was necessarily good. It's just weird, because also WrestleMania 24 ends up being one of the best shows they've ever done. So, you contrast that to the talent they have and the lackluster stories. It's just a weird time, but their pay-per-views, again, it's weird because it's good, but it's not, it could be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We didn't really do a nostalgia seg at the start of this, but what happened on Impact, just to kind of contrast it to this?
The Rock and Rave Infection, Jimmy Rave and Lance Hyde with Chris D. Hemme defeated Petey Williams and Scott Steiner in 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Hernandez with Homicide and Salinas defeated Kip James with Roxy LaFoe in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Judas Mercedes with James Mitchell defeated Corey Chavez in 1 minute 15 Angelina Love defeated ODB and Roxy Lafont in a triple threat match or a three-way match in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. James Storm, Peyton Banks, and Robert Roode with Jackie Moore defeated Eric Young, Sanjay Dutt, and Tracy Brooks in 4 minutes. Tomko defeated Kurt Angle with Karen Angle and special referee AJ Styles in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And commentators were Don West, Mike Tenay, and your ring announcer was Jeremy Borash. SmackDown, by the way.
Yeah.
Ric Flair defeated Montel Fontavious Porter by DQ in Ric Flair's career on the line match in 6 minutes and 17 seconds. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio defeated Chavo Guerrero and Edge in 15 minutes and 9 seconds. Finlay and Hornswoggle defeated Deuce and Domino with Sherry in 1 minute and 49 seconds. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder defeated Jimmy Wang Yang and Shannon Moore. Shannon Moore supplied at this point in 6 minutes and 25 seconds. And the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker, defeated Big Daddy V and Mark Henry in 10 minutes and 41 seconds.
That sounds like an awesome SmackDown.
Big Daddy V and Mark Henry have Matt Striker in the corner. The commentators are Michael Cole and Jonathan Coachman.
Ring
announcer is Justin Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, Punk and Mysterio teaming up, that sounds awesome. And the Brothers of Destruction on the same show. Come on, sign me up. Sounds awesome. Not awesome, but entertaining is the word.
Yeah.
So, I believe that is it for this episode of Raw. The next time we will see you will be next week. And I'm calling it now. I'm calling the shots. Next week it's going to be No Way Out.
Alright, it's No Way Out, okay, Fergal?
Yay!
Don't.
We're going to have an argument.
Yeah, we will. We'll have an argument. I'll shout at you. You'll shout at me. And then we'll both shout at Cringe God. Yeah.
Who's not on this call, but they will be on a episode coming out in the near future, which we definitely haven't already recorded, have we?
Yeah, we haven't recorded yet.
This is Pigs and Fergs. Say goodbye to the people. We will see you next week for No Way Out.
God damn you, Ferg. Why are you useless? Why are you useless?
Screw you, Piggy.
Maybe I will go to a different company like Deadlocked. Maybe I'll go.
I'm old, I'm hurt.